Good morning, y'all. My name is Bethany Spear. I'm an Emerald Ambassador, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit this morning about developing leaders. And I think that this can be one of the most difficult things of what we do, because it's not just us going out and leading and learning what we need to do, but then we have to turn around and we have to get and teach other people to do what we do. So I'm a little bit more of a go-getter. And so as soon as I had the basics in front of me and I caught the vision, I went out and I went after it and got to work. But the tricky part came in teaching other people to do what I was doing. I could do it very easily myself, but trying to teach someone else what to do was kind of tricky for me. So a lot of you know that I am a pastor's wife, so a lot of my parallels tend to come from that. So I like to think of developing leaders as discipleship. So if you look in the Bible, you know that Jesus had 12 disciples, people that he poured into. And so Jesus just wasn't going about just leading all by himself. He was pouring into these disciples and teaching them how to lead, and then turned around and said to them, okay, now you go and you make disciples. So he taught them how to lead, and then they went on to teach other people how to lead and how to carry out Jesus's mission, right? This is exactly what we do. And so then when Jesus left the earth, his mission was able to continue because he had taught the disciples what to do, and then they had gone and they had taught other people what to do. And this just duplicated down to where the work of Jesus was able to be completed without him even present on the earth. And so this is something that my husband really challenges his staff to do. That even though they have a staff position, that they should constantly be pouring into someone so that if something happened to them, that their job could still continue because they've taught someone else how to do it. And so I think a good question to ask ourselves is, if we disappeared, if we just up and vanished, could our team carry on without us? Would our organization continue to thrive and grow because we've developed leaders so well that they know what to do even without us there? I don't know if any of y'all are a part of Bob Heilig's Legacy Leadership Academy, but something that he said that was such a game changer for me was that you should become an insignificant part of your organization. And that really blew me away, because I think as we really grow our organizations, we can oftentimes think of ourselves as the glue that holds our teams together, right? They need us. We have to do this for them. Wrong. To be a successful leader, they should be able to do this without us. They should be able to carry on without us. Now, if I ask that question and you're like, nope, my team could not carry on without me, that's okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what it looks like to get to that point and to develop that, because I can promise you I'm still constantly learning how to develop leaders. I have not arrived. This is still something that I am learning myself. So let's talk about some ways that we can learn to develop leaders. I think one of the most important things is that you have to believe that you are a leader. And I know we have some other videos that are talking about mindset, so we're not going to pour into this a lot, but it really does boil down to your mindset. Do you believe that you're a leader? Do you believe that you have something to offer to your team? I remember I did a training a while back and someone came to me and they said, that was so good. Like, you bring so much to the table. And I said to them, well, you bring so much to the table too. We all have our unique gifts. We all have something different that we can bring to the table, but you have to believe that you have something to offer. You have to believe that you are a leader. So the most important thing, and something that I tell my team all the time, is it's not about who you are or what you have right now. It's about who you want to be. So don't look at yourself right now and think, well, I don't have this or I don't have that. We have to constantly be developing ourselves. So know that to develop leaders, you have to constantly be developing yourself. You have to be growing yourself as a leader and pouring into personal development so that you can take what you don't have, or let's say what is a weakness of yours, and you pour personal development into that. So let's say you look at yourself and you think, you know what, I'm not really a person of influence. Okay, maybe right now you're not, but what can we do to change that? What personal development can we pour into that weakness to make us a person of influence? Whether it's how to win friends and influence people, or putting yourself into a position where you're forced to grow that weakness to where it becomes a strength. So don't look at what you are or what you have right now. Look at where you want to be and what you can do to be there. Another thing that we have to do to develop leaders is we have to lead by example. And I think this can become tricky the bigger our organizations can get, because we can become so focused on helping our teams grow, right? Teaching them how to recruit, how to develop silvers, that we lose our own personal development of recruiting people ourselves, personally recruiting, personally grabbing new customers, personally developing silvers. The number one way to develop leaders is to lead by example. You have to be doing these things yourselves. Do not turn into a micromanager where you're only teaching your team to do it, but you're not doing it yourself. If you're leading by example, then naturally your team is going to grow and they're going to learn from that. The next thing you have to know as a leader is to develop leaders, you cannot rescue them, and they have to learn on their own. And this can be really difficult because when we're sitting on top of an organization, we want to look and see what we can do to grow our points, right? And so we think, well, they're not doing their job, so I'm just going to jump over them and I'm going to do this for them. And I'm going to check on their people for them, or I'm going to develop their people for them. That's not our job. Rescuing is not our job. Developing leaders is our job. And I promise you, if you get into rescue mode, it's not sustainable and it will lead to burnout. You cannot be the rescuer of your entire team. And so what you have to do as a leader when you're developing leaders is you have to figure out who really wants this, and those are the people that you pour into. You're never going to develop people who do not want this. And so your job as a leader is to look at who wants this, who wants to be a leader of their team, and those are the people that you pour into. And when we're pouring into them, we give them everything that we've got. That is another super important step to developing leaders. Everything you've got, you pour into those people who want this. And I think the key, if you want to break it down even simpler, because we know when it comes to developing leaders, it's all about the power of three. You developing silvers and teaching them to develop silvers. And I think the number one most successful way to do that is in hand holding. We've got to step by step be giving people what they need. And so that way we're not overwhelming them. We're just coming to them each day and we're saying, okay, now you're going to do this. Now you're going to do this. Hey, make this post. Hey, this is how you're going to respond to these people. Think back to when you first started and what you needed to be successful, what you felt like were the keys to your success, and that is what you have to turn around and you have to go and you have to give your team. I think the last key to this is to making their goals your goals. So whatever the leader you're trying to develop, whatever their goals are, you're making it your personal goal to show them how to reach that goal. And because you're doing that, and when you're doing that, and they learn how to reach that goal, guess what they can do? They can then go and they can go to their team, find out their goals, and help them reach their goals. So I think this is so important to know that we can't just be leaders ourselves and expect to carry our entire team. But the key to success with this is to teaching other people to lead. They should be the leaders of their own team. We should not be the leaders of their team. And I'll say it again. If you don't believe you're a leader, this is not about who you are or what you have right now. This is about who you want to be and how hard you're willing to fight to get there.